Christy. Today I want to talk to you about how flexibility is the key to success. We all know that being flexible makes life easier. And as parents and caregivers to individuals with special needs, we've learned the necessity of remaining flexible in many areas of life. But what exactly does that look like? Here's an example from our life from last week. We had a meeting online with one of AJ's caseworkers from one of the organizations that will help us find a job for him in the near future. We talked about how COVID has impacted our lives and how AJ is doing in his current work skills program. Now, this gal mentioned that this organization she works for has reopened and that they are available to find a job for AJ if we're interested. Now, that could be a part-time job after his online work is done, or it could be if we decide to pull him out and find him a full-time job. Now, I'm not sure we're going to go that route quite yet, but it's nice to know it's there. Now, we also talked about how AJ wants to be a farmer and whether or not finding a farm he could work on would be possible. She said there are a few possibilities in our area. Unfortunately, they're all across town from where we are, and that complicates getting him to and from work. She asked about his future housing plans. Now, since most of the group homes in our area are across town from us, I'd kind of ruled them out. But if he's going to work on that side of town, they kind of make sense. Maybe I'm going to have to rethink things. It was a short meeting, but it got me thinking about things all over again. Okay, I still have no idea what AJ's future holds. Well, let me take that back. I know he's going to get a job, and I know he's dying to move out of our house. So those two things are givens. What they'll look like is still a mystery. And we have about a year before AJ needs to find a job, and even that date is somewhat flexible. I did find out that he can stay in the job skills program he's in until the school year finishes, which buys us about another 6 months. Again, kind of nice to know. But the fact remains that in the not too distant future, AJ will need a job that he can maintain for the foreseeable future. With that job, he'll need a place to live. Okay, need is probably a bit strong because he's always going to have a place with us. But since he's determined to move out, when he gets a job, it's a good transition time for him. Now to figure out what that housing situation will or should look like. Now I've known that we still have some big decisions to make about these two areas of AJ's life. But I was kind of putting a plan together in my mind. You know, kind of the, this is what I want AJ's life to look like plan. He's still close to us, so we can have convenient access to him regularly. He has a job he enjoys. I can get to him easily for anything that I need to. Now, while I'm open to group homes, and I've mentioned that before, we've been told that most of the ones in our area are across town because it's cheaper over there. I haven't really wanted him to be that far away from us and from the life that he has here. Now, I know, it's not really that far, but we could still get to him anytime we wanted. It's just not an area that we go to pretty much ever. We could, but we don't in our current everyday life. And in my mind, I want him closer to our everyday life circle. But if he's working on that side of town, it really does make sense for him to live across town so that his commute to work is considerably shorter. Yes, we could do it from our side of town, but I don't want to have to fight that traffic every day to get him to and from work, and it lengthens his workday pretty significantly. So now I'm rethinking things and trying to make sure that I remain open-minded to all the possibilities. So here's where flexibility comes in. We all know that flexibility is important in life, but now I have to, or maybe I should say I get to, prove that I truly mean what I say. Am I willing to move AJ across town to make life easier for him, even though it means my life will be more difficult in getting to him? Well, am I willing to be flexible in my planning to adjust to the various possibilities that arise? Or am I going to insist on fitting everything into the nice, neat box I had painted in my mind about what his life and mine will look like in the future? Ouch. That one hits kind of close to home. But if I'm being honest, they're valid questions. And one I'm glad I don't have to answer really quickly. But as I process through all of these thoughts bouncing around in my head, I realize that ultimately, what I want for AJ is a life that leads him fulfilled, content, and happy. And who knows, maybe across town from me will give him that extra independence that he longs for. So where am I today? I still have no idea what's going to happen. And I know I'm going to be in limbo for another year or so. And I'm perfectly okay with that. I think my big takeaway is this. What are my true priorities as AJ reaches full adult status, meaning 21? If I'm truly seeking as independent of a life as he is capable of, then I need to be willing to have that be truly away from me, even if it means it's inconvenient for me to see him. My occasional inconvenience for his daily convenience is a trade-off I need to be willing to make, because ultimately it's about his life, not mine. And this independence he seeks means that I'll have done what every parent aims to do with every child. Launch them successfully into the world where they're living on their own apart from their parents. Yes, it looks different for AJ, but it's still going to be his launched life. And it means that he'll be just fine when I'm gone. So as I close this post, let me leave you with a few things to think about. Let's call them the takeaways from this meandering trail through my brain. First of all, be willing to consider options you've previously ruled out if new information becomes available. Remain flexible, even if it takes you a little bit to get there. Now, it's okay to have to work through things before you accept them. That makes you human. But be willing to do the work to get there. Be open to every opportunity that's presented. Consider everything. Get all the information you can, and then make the best choice you can. Remember that nearly every decision can be changed or reversed if it becomes obvious that it's not a good option after all. Very few things in life are completely permanent. And finally, if a job or housing situation isn't a good fit, or if something better comes along, don't be afraid to change. We do that as typical people. Why wouldn't we do the same thing for our loved ones with special needs? Now, once again, I'm sure I haven't thought of everything. And I'd love to hear what issues you've come up against or whatever thoughts you have. You can leave me a comment below, or you can leave me a comment over on the blog. That's at www.havenofhopeforme.com. This originally posted in October of 2020. So that leads me to my question for this week. What plans do you have for a job or living situation for your loved one? What haven't I thought of yet? I'd love to hear your thoughts. As I said, you can leave me a comment here or over on the blog at havenofhopeforme.com. This posted in October of 2020. I'm looking forward to the future with all of its possibilities and trying to remain flexible so that I can continue to say that life is good and there is never a dull moment.